space, and more particularly the distance factor, has so far been underestimated in economics. In his Inquiry into the Nature and Causes of the Wealth of Nations, Adam Smith, in the 18th century tackles, without too much stop on it, the problem of international trade and that of urban-rural relations. He does not do a systematic study of the effect of distance on trade and the economy in general. Giovanni Botero had already in the 16th century a study on the causes of the size and magnificence of cities. Botero, along with Richard Cantillon, a contemporary of Adam Smith, can be considered as precursors of theoretical analysis in economic geography. But it is von Thünen who must be credited, at the beginning of the 19th century, for having for the first time built a mathematical model to take into account the distance in economic life, especially in the location of agricultural activities. The first half of the 20th century will be filled with a set of mathematical models in economic geography, the most famous of which are Alfred Weber, who worked on the location of industries, and Walter Christaller and August Losch, who developed the central places theory to explain the location and hierarchy of cities and, in general, of central locations. At least three other authors deserve to be quoted. It is the economist François Perroux who developed the concept of economic polarization with a strong geographic impact, Walter Isard who initiated a multidisciplinary movement of regional sciences, and Paul Krugman, Nobel Prize winner in 2008 for his contribution to the theory of international trade and which has greatly contributed to the rise of the new economic geography since the end of the 20th century. Although part of a structuralist approach, this course makes extensive use of simple mathematical models related to the new economic geography, models that will be adjusted to better reflect the variability of reality. Landowner Johann Heinrich von Thünen starts from the study of his own plantations but makes a brilliant generalization that he puts into perspective. Imagine an immense plain uniformly fertile, and isolated from the outside world, and in the center of this plain, a single great city. The plain provides agricultural products, and the city manufactures products. How are the different agricultural products distributed in this case, if the cost of transport is the same in all directions? By simplifying a little bit, we can say that each agricultural product has a cost of equilibrium in the city, and a transportation cost per unit of distance. All other things being equal, in a given place, the culture chosen will be the one that will produce the greatest land rent, the greatest profit. Consider these products A, B, C, D and E with, for 1 hectare, the production costs, the selling prices to the city, and the transport costs. One hectare in product A have a selling price of 20,000 monetary units at the city. The cost of production is 10,000 monetary units. So, if it were not for transportation, this product would yield a profit of 10,000 currency units per hectare. Because of transportation, this benefit decreases when one moves away from the city. Thus, for this product, the profit decreases by 200 currency units every kilometer. So if product A is grown in the vicinity of the city, it will yield 10,000 currency units per hectare. At 10 kilometers, it will bring back 8,000 monetary units. At 20 kilometers, he will bring back 6,000. At 30, 4,000. At 40, 2,000. At 50 kilometers, A will not bring any profit. Beyond 50 kilometers, nobody can cultivate A, under penalty of bankruptcy. 1 hectare of product B sells for 15,000 currency units at the city. The production cost is 7,000 currency units. The profit per hectare, regardless of the cost of transport, is therefore 8,000 monetary units. If product B is grown in the vicinity of the city, it will yield 8,000 currency units. At 10 kilometers, it will bring back 6,800 monetary units. At 20 kilometers, it will bring back 5,600 monetary units. At 30 kilometers, 4,400. At 40 kilometers, 3,200. At 50 kilometers, 2,000. At 60 kilometers, 800. And at 67 kilometers, B will not yield any profit, and farther, no farmers will have interest to practice this culture under penalty of bankruptcy. 1 hectare of product C sells 10,000 currency units in the city. The production cost for this quantity is 3,000 currency units. Profit per hectare without consideration of transportation costs is therefore 7,000 currency units. With a transport cost of 130 currency units per kilometer, product C, grown in the vicinity of the city, will yield 7,000 currency units. At 10 kilometers, it will bring back 5,700 monetary units. At 20 kilometers, it will bring back 4,400. At 30 kilometers, it will bring back 3,100. At 40 kilometers, it will bring back 1,800. At 50 kilometers, 500. And at 54 kilometers, no more farmer will undertake this production since it will generate no profit. Product E, grown on 1 hectare, sells for 11,000 currency units in the city. Its production cost is 5,000 currency units. The profit generated by the production of this product will therefore be 6,000 monetary units regardless of transport costs. The transport cost is 100 currency units per kilometer. This product will yield 6,000 monetary units in the vicinity of the city. Produced 10 kilometers from the city, it will yield 5,000 currency units. At 20 kilometers, 4,000 monetary units. At 30 kilometers, 3,000 monetary units. At 40 kilometers, 2,000 monetary units. At 50 kilometers, 1,000 currency units. And at 60 kilometers, it will bring back nothing and no farmers will practice it. 1 hectare of product E sells for 5,000 monetary units in the city. The cost of production is 2,000 monetary units, which gives a profit per hectare of 3,000 monetary units without consideration of transport costs. This product will yield, cultivated in the neighborhood of the city, 3,000 monetary units. At 20 kilometers, 2,500. At 40 kilometers, 2,000. At 60 kilometers, 1,500. At 80 kilometers, 1,000. At 100 kilometers, 500. And at 120 kilometers, this product will not yield anything and no cultivators will practice it. If the choice of the producer is guided by profit maximization, he will always choose, for a certain place, the product that is at the highest level on the profit curve. Thus, crop A will be grown between the center of the market and a distance of 25 kilometers from the city. Product B will be grown from 25 to 53 kilometers from the market center, and product E between 53 and 120 kilometers. Products C and D will not be grown because they never generate, in any place, more profit than other crops. Beyond 120 kilometers, none of the 5 crops can be grown for sale at the market, since the cost of transport would cause the ruin of the producer, regardless of the crop considered. Under these conditions, a map of productions would take the form of a circular area of 25 km radius where the producers would choose to produce A. Outside this circle, a ring where B would be produced, and beyond, another ring where the producers would cultivate E. The example we have just examined breaks the main point of the problem, but simplifies it considerably. Von Thünen, after reflections and calculations made in his environment and at his time, comes to the conclusion that the city will be surrounded by 6 concentric rings. The first ring in the vicinity of the city will be dedicated to intensive cultivation and breeding and will produce crops that are highly perishable and very expensive to transport. The producer uses as needed, more labor and fertilizers bought in town. Crop rotation is not fixed and must always allow high yields to cope with the high ground rent. The second ring is dedicated to forest cultivation for construction, firewood and charcoal. Since the cost of transporting wood is relatively high, too far away would cause excessive price increases. The price of wood in the city will still be adjusted to allow a high ground rent, because of the proximity of the city. In the third ring, agricultural producers practice the alternating cultivation of grains and fodder. No land remains fallow, all land is cultivated. In the fourth ring, there are pastures and grain crops alternating with a fallow for each rotation. The fifth ring is cultivated according to the three-field system. The space is used for grain and pasture, and 1/3 of the estate remains fallow alternately. In the sixth ring, extensive farming is practiced for the production of butter and cheese. Yield per hectare is low, but products are inexpensive to transport. This is the basic von Thünen's example. Suppose a river facilitates transportation from the city. The cost of transportation decreases along the river. As a result, the rings are deformed. The same phenomenon occurs in the case of a road or a railway. Another consequence is that land rent will be increased along the communication route. Now, suppose a small agglomeration is in the isolated state. This agglomeration will have its own area of influence where it will sell manufactured products and where it will obtain agricultural products. This area of influence and the prices depend on the big city in the center of the isolated state. Von Thünen's theoretical efforts have led to a great deal of work in geography, economics and agricultural sciences. The father of economic geography is also considered by many economists as the father of econometrics.